Brother Hatim, and you have joined us on Giami Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.giamijourney.com. All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He dwelleth amongst the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? I say, in the poor and the fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They go upon and back. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, you are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth. Thou shalt endure all nations. Allahu Akbar.
This is Kabara Franks, and you are now listening to the Giami Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Abin Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Giami Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Giami Journey on Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This call is being recorded.
This is Abin Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Giami Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Giami Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy.
This is Marina, and this is Giami Journey Radio.
This is Willie. Welcome to Giami Journey Radio. I want to give shout out to Silver Kevin, all my Silver Nation out there. I want to give shout outs to my mom. I give shout out my dad for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
And you're listening to Giami Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotep. It's Mansour Hotep, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity doesn't sound good. I think it sounds great. Right now, you're listening to Giami Journey Radio.
We're about to get into it tonight.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry his name. This is Brother Hatem coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Giami Journey Radio. Shouts out to the Giami tribe, Giami family. Stand up. Peace.
Shouts out to Miss CeeLo. Shouts out to Lady J. I think we got Quasi on the line. And who else? Somebody else on the line. It's about to go down tonight.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve it. Better friend. This is Brother Hatem coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gianni Journey Radio. Shouts out to Gianni Tribe, Gianni family. Stand up. And you are now listening to Gianni Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina. And you are now.
Now you listen to my daddy.
On Gianni
Journey
Radio. Peace.
Family, I have had enough. Yep, I had enough. Now I'm letting y'all know right now we had enough. We're going to have a nice conversation tonight. We're going to get it popping off here. But first, let me allow and welcome everybody into the home of the mighty. This is the congregation of the mighty, and you are now listening to Gianni Journey Media. Girl, you was kind of premature. I'm glad you on the ball tonight, Anime. Good job. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And, of course, you know, this is a Heart of a Simmer production, and we are listening right now to Folktales for Grown Folks. It's time to break them down. Send the kids to bed. What's up?
Hatem.
Yes, ma'am.
Why Miley say you need to change the name of your show to You Are Now Listening to J. Ross?
We also got Lady J having a conversation with somebody else, and we have somebody with the 940 up there. Who is that? Is that Quasi?
Yes, sir. You know it's me. Lurking in the shadows.
So, hey, here we go. Without any further ado, family, I was going to give a little diatribe about how we need to come together and how we come together and how we need to draw the boundaries of who we are and be very clear. You know, I'm not living my life. Got to be black first, family. Got to be black first. I'm seeing so much fuckery on social media right now. You know what I'm saying? I was shocked this morning with this Lee Daniel movie coming out, and I have to ask the question, with everything that we're watching, with everything we're doing, what is the agenda? We got to have agendas with shit that we're doing, because we're in a situation where we got to be able to start deciphering agendas, and that's part of why we do Folktales for Grown Folks, so we can start.
What movie is coming out?
It's called Pimp. And it's who wants to be like her father, who is a pimp. And she has a white bottom bitch that she just happens to have several love scenes just in the fucking intro to the movie. We ain't even get to the whole movie yet. We ain't even seen the movie yet. But, you know, already you got the black and white love all the way through there. Homoerotic, whatever. I don't know what Lee Daniels. I don't know what this nigga is on. Excuse. I'm not even at this point in time. I'm not even vaguely interested. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I don't know if you know this, Hatem, but I don't watch TV at all. So I gotta go to Lee Daniels and see who is.
All right, Lee Daniels is the creator of Empire, Precious, and many other.
Say no more. One part or one show of Empire, and it's only because I was at someone's house getting my hair done, and I could not dictate what they put on their dummy tube, right?
Right.
And so I watch rainbow flag in the parade. I don't believe that a government has a right to tell people who they can marry, especially when they're paying taxes, especially when the Constitution, the law of the land, does not dictate that. Only our biblical who, I can't dictate what you do, and I also often share with people my two realities for me. The first reality is that I am naturally attracted to the opposite sex. I am naturally attracted to the opposite sex in the sense that things happen to my body when I'm attracted to someone, right? And so what I think about when I think about people who are attracted to the same sex, I say, well, if you are naturally attracted and if that's what gets you going, I don't want you not to quench your thirst. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking that. But what I do believe is my second belief, and I guess I got three beliefs. My second belief is that that homosexuality, like anything else, is an anomaly, and that though it has existed since the beginning of time, just like sickle cell Down syndrome, albinoism, and all types of other genetic defects, you don't see them in abundance. It is an anomaly. This is many years ago when Nicki Minaj came out. I was working at a school as a substitute teacher, and I had been there regularly, and I watched the climate change, the tone change to the girls holding hands, and one thing I knew for sure, two things I knew for certain, that they were not doing this because they were engaging in sexual activity, but they were doing so because it was being impressed upon them that it is what people said was popular or the in thing to do, and lastly, because it attracted the attention of males, which is really what they wanted. So they would hold hands, call girlfriend, they might even kiss. I even worked at a school where it seemed like at some point that was contagious. There was probably one straight girl in 6 classes, right? So I watched it. And so when I see these things, and like I said, holding on to my one of my truths that this is an anomaly, I know that it's being impressed. I wonder why long before it was comfortable for you to have a biracial couple in media with a show, or we've had a couple here or there, but I remember my surprise when I found out Will and Grace featured a gay male, and that they had a whole show, or that when I started seeing the so many sex scenes, period. I'm not just talking about same sex, I'm talking about period. We went and we accepted all of that deviance before we were willing to say it was okay for a white woman to be with a black man or a black man to be with a white woman. In fact, we even put in an uproar when we had the Cheerios commercials because we said a lot of people said it perpetuated the stereotype, but some was just mad that this black man was with this white woman. So I say all this to say that I have not seen the previews for this movie, but I am in total agreement with you, and I am to say that this has been an ongoing weapon that has been used in this war.
You talk about a key word often when we get into our arguments: the power of propaganda. Propaganda is a weapon as well. It's a tool wait a minute. As a weapon.
But when we say it like that, yeah. When you say it like that, I just need to say, like the other day we were at our meeting, which I missed you at, and the topic of peer pressure came up. And my sister Jay Adams and I, we really, I think that we were on to something great at this last meeting. But anyway, this topic of peer pressure came up, and it dawned on me that when we say peer pressure, it's automatically a negative connotation. The same is true with propaganda. The same is exactly true with propaganda.
That's what I just said, Lady J.
It's a weapon that is used, familiar with, so that they can use it in the counter attack.
Now, and what we have to be able to do is ask the questions and break stuff down. One of the pieces that I'm adding to the warrior training is, since a lot of the young people that we have watch a lot of these anime cartoons, I'm going to challenge some of the adults that's that are part of the process, having discussions about some of the stuff. We might even need to start breaking out some of their music and listening to it so that they could go and define for us what we hear, and then we could share with them what we hear and have a real discussion with our young people so that they could start learning how to break this stuff down, because it's a weapon as well as a tool. Now, like I said, it's like a pair of scissors. Either you could cut your hair or you could use it to stab yourself in the eye. I don't know why you would do the latter, but
let me
and girl, keep it short.
I don't know what the hell y'all talking about, man. I'm like, y'all need to breathe. Y'all, goddamn, slow down. What are you? I don't know what nobody said. No shit. What the hell are y'all talking about?
So we started off. I just brought up the point about knowing the agenda, especially of. I was going to get to the point of especially talking about the agenda of artists. Because as you know, for a long time, I have said artists are the vanguard of the revolution. And oftentimes, pointed out to you when it happened in the past, where the media or propaganda was weaponized against us. And because we didn't prepare our young people with the tools to deal with it, they got caught up.
That we got on this topic because you were lamenting about Lee Daniels' new movie Pimp, your band. And the fact and I asked you who was Lee Daniels and asked you what was this movie about, and you shared it.
Right.
So that's what caused us to get off on that conversation to begin with. But what I want to say is that I am in total agreement, Hatim. But I believe one crucial point that we must keep in mind is that it's not like the day and age when you could turn on the TV and let your child sit in front of the TV for large being watched. There is no longer a day and age when you can do that. This is not a time.
It never was a day and age.
It never was.
When our kids are most impressionable, that's when it's going to be most serious to make sure that they're not even watching that stuff. When they get to an age where they've already been programmed and educated in that part of their brain that develops at young adolescence has developed in you.
There's no time, especially in the technology age, where the technologies was used for a mundane purpose. Like, it might be a fundamental human tendency to use the things that it's creating to control other people.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's just the nature of humanity in general, but it's definitely been the case in this culture.
Well, I mean, living in the society we live in, we pay for that service, and if that convenience can lead you to purchase more things, or lead you to vote in a certain way, or lead you to spend in a certain way, that's what they're gonna do. Nah, but hold on. Now, this is what we're gonna do. Thank you for your commentary, but family, once again, we have to start asking the question: what's the agenda? And is the agenda, are we at the forefront of the agenda? In a good way or a bad way? We spend our time. What's the agenda? Because it for me, it has to be about black. We got to start empowering ourselves, period. Because for me, now for somebody else it could be something else, but right now, if it ain't about empowering my people, I ain't got no motherfucking time for it. But here we go. Placed it upon his shoulder and set out homewards. On his way, he met a man on horseback who begged the hair of him under the pretense of purchasing it. However, when the horseman got the hair, he rode off as fast as he could. The hunter ran after him as if he was sure of overtaking him. But the horseman increased more and more distance between them. The hunter, sorely against his will, called out to him and said, "Get along with you, for I will now make you a present of the hair." Simple and straightforward. Do y'all need me to read it again?
Yes.
All right. The hunter and the horseman. Let me see if I can translate this. A certain hunter, having trapped the hare, placed it upon his shoulder to carry it home. On his way, he met a man on horseback, and this man begged him to see the hare. Under under the pretense that he was going to purchase it. But once the man on horseback got the hare in his hand, he began to ride off. And the man and the huntsman began to chase the man upon the horse. As the man on the horse got farther and farther away, the man walking, or the huntsman, looked at him and said, man, go on about your business. I'm going to make that rabbit a gift for you. Y'all get it?
Wow. I got 2 words for you.
Yeah, I get it.
Slim Shady.
Uh-oh. Explain. Uh-oh. He done took it to the white rapper. Go on to, oh my God. Go ahead.
People sitting up here acting like our culture got stolen, and now people just want to make it part of the mystique, part of the people. Oh, he the dopest rapper ever. He one of us. You know what I mean? They want to coddle him and make him whatever they wanted. And he's an okay rapper. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, but the thing that people want to give him is almost like he took the torch and ran with it.
Right.
And he did his thing. He took it to acting. He took it to producing. He took it to putting 50 Cent on and doing a lot of stuff with what was given to him.
Or actually, you got to remember, the rabbit wasn't given. The man on the horseback took the goddamn rabbit and started running off. And at first, motherfuckers, he was chasing him. And then when he figured out he couldn't catch him, he said, all right, go on with the rabbit. I'll give it to you. That's my gift to you.
But he didn't take it, though. Or he wasn't giving it to him. He took it.
Exactly.
No, he didn't take it. It was handed to him. He opened the bag. He opened the bag up. If he took it, gave it to him, whatever, he opened up the bag.
That's a good example. Somebody, a culture vulture. They get in, they get your shit, they ride off with it, and to make yourself look good, rather than being like, yo, this motherfucker is stealing, is robbing the culture, and whatever. No, it's like, nah, we let you have that. You know, you part of the culture, come on in. We cool. You know what I'm saying? And we do that. I mean, that, because actually when it came down to it, once he put the hare into the horseman's hand, the only thing he could rely on was the word of the horseman. I want to buy this from you, man. Hey, nice rabbit. Yeah, get up.
You know
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now that I think about it, though, that was actually kind of a whack example. Really, like, that was kind of a basic example. Because that's kind of the example that it's crazy because that is getting stripped from us too, and that's one of the last things we get credit for. Look back at Thomas Edison, all the inventors, you realize, think about all of the stuff that was invented to do it, that they didn't have to pay. So it only makes logical sense that all the inventions was made by people who had a horse in that race. He was out there sweating and toiling every day. There's, you know what? I can make this a lot easier. I'll just take this thing over here and tie it to that and spin this around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then all of these inventions is getting attributed to these people that was just sitting back and didn't have to do nothing. I mean, I'm sure they might have had the time. Actually, the only invention the white man ever really made was a patent. They made something that they could steal people's inventions with. We done everything. We done everything down to spirituality, like the different levels of awareness. They give this dude named Maslow credit for coming up with this concept of self-actualization. But the first people to be, inhabit the earth only knew that. That's all they knew. They didn't know poverty and humanity failed. You had just the original man, which everybody knows is dark-skinned man. Living in abundance, living in harmony with everything else.
You got to cut. And so, but that brings us to a whole nother conversation. But Lady J, I think you was going to say something?
Yeah, I want to know, does the end of your, does it say that get along with you, for I will now make you a present of the hair.
Yep.
So I'm thinking about like that. What controls us? That's what we give. Like that. We become slaves to things, right? To things, and a lot of times that is the result of our demise, right? So, like at the end of the day, this man thought he took this man for a, he took from this man, but at the end of the day, he's going to have to reap what he sows. So now that hair that he stole, right, is going to be the source of his, you feel what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you an example of Hatem real quick. So one day I'm out at my people's house out west, right? And I leave a phone in my car. Some kids walking by, some young kids walking by, they see the phone in the car, they take the phone. I had insurance, but I called the phone and I really was on my way out of town. I was moving, it was a lot going on, but I was careless, moving too fast. So I tell these, they weren't kids, they were teenagers, so, about 18, 19, I guess. So I tell them that I will pay them to give me back the phone. So I go to the place where the phone is. They hand me the phone, and the screen is broken. I take off running, Hatem. I take off running because it's my phone. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, they chased me down. And a lot of drama. I mean, it was just bad all night after that. But when I read it myself online, what it made me think about was that story. Hunter came across something, right? He even killed the hair dead. He even took the hare's life. Now, he was going to reap on that. At first, if you were like, according to Buddha, that would be a sin, right? You killed the rabbit. The rabbit got to leave. You're not supposed to do no harm to nothing alive, right? So let's just say he out hunting, he killed the rabbit. He got to get back, right? Mm. But now the guy that took it from him, he now has to that's now his burden. Those are now his, you feel what I'm saying? That's now his karma. You know what I'm saying? So now he's like a slave to that hair. Like, that damn thing drove you to do, you know what I'm saying? To do something that you're going to have maybe he didn't get it from the hunter, but he's going to get it in the end because.
Well, the hunter freely gave it to him. Because think about this. The hunter released it.
He gave it to him, but what does he say? He says, now you are of the hair.
Present of the hair, which means that he gave it away to him.
He said he's giving him a present.
Right. That's my present. That's my gift to you. Because he was running as if he could catch the horse. Remember that. He was running as if he could catch the horse. He was giving all his effort. And he was trying, all right, cool, I'm going to try to chase this man down from this hair when possibly he could have been using his energy to get something else. And this is kind of like a lot of us. We start pursuing something that we believed was ours, that somebody took, when that little thing, I could let it go, and I could go on and do something else. Because think about this. That man, when he took that hair, he took a meal, he took this man's mind, he took this man's emotions, and started riding off with it. As soon as he released that made him free enough to be able to go out and get something else. Now, as far as reciprocity, we could talk about that part maybe a little bit later on in the show, maybe, if we get to it, because for as far as black folks, as Quasi said, we have in many instances had the hair on our thing, but somebody with some modern technology like a horse or a better car or something where they're able to take something and through either speed of mind or speed of body, you know what I'm saying, be able to run off with our fucking inventions. And I'm like, yo, we got to put a stop to that shit. But But when it does happen, I don't need to be a hostage of that forever, because this man could have went and spent the rest of that day trying to hunt down this dude when his family, because he was on his way home. So maybe this man had a family. Maybe this man wanted to eat. So he could have spent all his time looking for this dude, and by the time he found the rabbit, he would have had nothing but the fur. Now he got something else to be mad about. So maybe this might be part of the lesson, might be about being able to release something when it is truly gone.
That's like
I got something. I got something to throw in there.
Go ahead.
I got something to throw in there.
Let Mr. Cox go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let Mr. Cox go because he ain't went yet. Go ahead, Mr. Cox.
No. Can I just say this real quick? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just want to say that truly what happened is just what you said. I ran off, back to my story. I ran off with that phone, Hatim. But when I tell you them people pulled a gun on me, and it was some tragedy, and just like that man let that hair go, I mean, yeah, I let that phone go too because it wasn't worth all that. I just wanted to say that. Okay, thank you.
I think that's awesome. What I was hearing and I was listening, I was hearing and I was listening. I want to throw a twist in that. I was hearing that the brother released the hair to the guy. And I heard the words, and I kept on repeating them. He said, I'll make you a gift of the hair. We have to watch that what we might do to others, we might become enslaved of in its karma. All right. It could also mean when he says, I'll make you a gift of the hair, that I'll enslave you into your own karma, into your own self, into your own evil. I'll release your evil into your own self. And then that's a whole new formulary, because then the hair means a lot more allegory, because now the hair becomes bigger than the thievery of it. Now he's a slave of the allegory is the hair, but not only that, now he says, I'm releasing you into your own entanglement, your own web that you weave. If anyone can feel me on that, I can see that twist. Also, we have to watch that, because intentionally or unintentionally, sometimes we might steal something from someone that they would none otherwise just give it to you freely. Or someone might steal something from you that you might very, very value, that you would none otherwise just give it to them freely. Sometimes they would rather have stolen it from you than have received it from your graciousness. And it's a blessing, though, that people feel that you have something so much of value that they would rather steal it from you than to get it from you freely. And the blessing in it is that God gives it to you, that you have value enough that people want to steal it from you.
Now, one thing... Go ahead.
I'm so sorry, Hatim, but this was just so powerful, what you just said. Who is that speaking?
Mr. Cox. Mr. Fred Cox. He is... I'm
sorry?
Mr. Fred Cox. He is a representative of the UNIA. What's your position in the UNIA here in Columbus?
I'm the president of the UNIA here in Columbus.
The president of the UNIA right here in Columbus, Ohio.
What's the UNIA?
What? Hold on, let's stop the cheers for a second. What's the UNIA? Young Padawan, how could you ask that? The UNIA, United Negro Improvement Association, the organization that was started by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. You want to give him a little history on the UNIA, Mr. Cox?
To further that was something that is the only black government that exists for our people and has existed since 1920. We don't know that because we've been all of the logistics to propagandize us have worked as far as TV, radio, whatever media source and everything like that. So they propagandize Marcus Garvey as some crazy Jamaican with some go back to Africa flim flam, and so that's the only part of history about Marcus Messiah Garvey. Laugh him off, and we're off to other black historians and so forth and so on. And we come to find out, I'm in my 50s, we come to find out that Marcus Messiah Garvey started the one and only black government that still exists. At one point, he had 250,000 members. 250,000 members back in the 1920s, which is kind of like unheard of. And it's all to build African community leagues to strengthen us from our communities into our living rooms, from our living rooms back into our communities, into our workforce, building skills and vocation, the Black Cross nurses, building cadet programs for males. I mean, you name it. So entrepreneurship, and within that keeps the dollar swinging in our community 7 times 7, and the whole works. And I don't want to steal the whole entire show. Thank you, Brother Hakim, for that. But that's the Universal Negro Improvement League, African Community League. That is the UNIA, and more of that information we can share at a later time.
Cool. All right, so family, now, back to the folktale, because now one of the things I keep hearing is the whole piece of reciprocity. So now, let's put ourselves in the place of the hunt. Go ahead.
I was about to say something, but I wanted to thank Mr. Cox for what he said, because he so eloquently said what I was saying, what I was trying to say before, and I thought that I must have misinterpreted the folktale. But I want to say, as he was speaking, this old saying came to my head.
Wait, you ain't about to do the Old Man River poem, is you?
No.
Okay, go
so
ahead.
That is my favorite. And I just want to say, I am so enlightened right now. My grandparents on my father's side were Glavites. And so I didn't know my father until I got much older, but once I met him after graduating college, my biological father, I realized why I am the way that I am, because I'm so much like this man, if you understand. But I did want to say, it reminded me of something women say. We say the same way you get them is the way you lose them. Like this idea that a lot of times I told my I think in relationships, and I say, if you really want, sometimes you want something so bad that you don't know of the harm that comes with it as well. I think of like people who get money, right? They get a whole lot of money, and then they wanted that money, they get that money, and then what they say, more money, more problems, other things happen. Next thing you know, they don't even have the money anymore, and they're, again, in worse off condition than they were. So I just thank him for adding that piece. It just, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Now, let's go and talk about this. Look, I want to
Very
put
welcome.
Go ahead. Is somebody else on the line? I heard a deep voice.
No, I was saying you're welcome. I was saying to the Queen, you're welcome.
All right. So let's get to this reciprocity thing, family, because I want to make sure, before I even speak. So, we are the huntsmen. You the huntsman. You've been out hustling and grinding, because catching a hare is not an easy task. Especially back in this day, because they didn't have necessarily guns. You had to have skill to be able to track this rabbit, this hare, kill this hare, walk away with this hare. And, I mean, this man ran after this horse and eventually let it go. What's the next move for us after we done lost the hare that possibly could feed our family at home?
I said I'm raising my hand. I know. All right, so what's been imparted to me about that is that, okay, so he gave it his all. He showed that he could catch that hair. He showed he could track it, whatever. He showed that not only that he had generosity. He showed that he could share. He was willing to share. He showed that he trusted someone that he didn't know as well, and everything like that. And the minute he slipped, all that was changed, and he gave it a great effort to catch up to it, even running after a horse that he knew that he wasn't going to catch. So he didn't.
I will
and
challenge
at the
that.
apex of him, at the apex of him having road rage and whatever, doing all those transitions that you said that he could have done as well, he released it. He released it so it wouldn't enslave him. And then he enslaved the other. All right, what would you have done with that? Me, I would want to be in that moment. I would want to capture that moment so much because I knew that at that moment I was being tested by the Creator so much that the Creator, I believe, was trying to find out how much I was willing to learn how to be a great hunter and how to have compassion about losing that, knowing that the Creator had my back all the time, and that I find another hair, and that life ain't over. I just have to continue to practice that skill, because elsewise my anxiety would drain me to depression and stress, and then I would be no good for myself or my family for a while, and then I couldn't move any further, So I would have to honestly believe there's another hair out there, and I got to get moving. I have to learn I learned how to win. I learned how to lose, and I'm stronger. It didn't kill me, so it's got to make me stronger. What don't kill you, that'll make you stronger. There it is.
So what was that thing he said to the hair? He said to the, he spoke, he said, I release you to the hair?
No, he said,
yeah, I release you. I give you as a gift to the hair.
Right.
Now, we will have to read that.
Not you say. He said, get along with you. He said, get along with you, for I will now make you a present of the hair.
A present of the hair.
Of the hair.
So maybe, I think that he was talking to himself.
I mean, really, he was talking to himself.
What it came to was he had to learn to keep his motherfucking bag shut. If that wasn't his lesson, then he in trouble. If he didn't learn that lesson, then he in trouble. Because he
Black folks
in his bag and getting his hair snatched. And
Hold on.
He's going to die. His family going to die. Everybody's going to die.
Crazy put a new one out there for us. Black folks, learn to keep your bag shut.
Dang.
Learn to keep your bag shut. You know what I'm saying? Now, also, but like I said, the importance of it, of being able to release and get it and use that energy to go out and recatch. Now, because, because I love the principles. Don't get me wrong. And reciprocity is one of them. But we got to, as a community, we have to stop letting motherfuckers get away on that reciprocity shit. Especially those others. Within our community, reciprocity.
I think that tell me again. Okay.
Go ahead.
Are we not in agree? We are in agreement. Reciprocity is the law of the universe, correct?
Of our universe, yeah. See, because
what do you mean our universe?
Because
it's a hermetic law.
Because I'm gonna say this, Kwesi. And I'm going to say this to everybody. I know I'm about to start an argument. But I have to doubt a universal law that don't work universally. I'm just saying. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a concept. I have to doubt a universal law that don't work universally. We have a whole. We have. Well, I'm just saying, because for every time you can show me that some reciprocity happened, I could probably show you 3 where it didn't. Now,
God.
as far now,
something's wrong with you.
I mean, okay. I mean, well, maybe what's wrong with me is that I'm kind of removing myself from the invisible magic thinking that may hold a lot of us prisoner, because I think reciprocity.
No, I got that, Hatim.
Go ahead.
I got that, Hatim. And I'm with you on that. Here it is. I honestly believe, and I used the word before earlier, called allegory. Allegory, for short, is like a comic strip view of how you kind of like optimally view something, how you see it. You know, all things. 100. That's your comic strip or what have you. And we want reciprocity to the point where we want to get back before we lay down and rest and die and everything like that. I mean, something might come back your way. Whatever you give might come back your way. Whatever you don't give might come back your way.
It will.
And we know that what we send out, we're hoping to get back. That while on it may not be anything, it might be whatever it is, but it don't have to be your definition. The Creator defines what that means.
Like the Creator is the Creator is zero. That which can see all the whole equation, because we ain't living nothing but a big ass math equation. So reciprocity is a mathematical certainty. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's over all of that shit. It's a mathematical certainty, but you got to be able to step back far enough to see the whole equation. Remember that black people, or Neanderthals, watched African civilization for thousands of years. We've been dealing with this shit for hundreds. You see what I'm saying?
Because y'all about to get mad at me, because I'm about to come.
I'm going to say something else, and you're really about to get mad at me.
I'm already mad.
So I'm going to apologize in advance.
Don't apologize, because you're going to get it.
I know. But I'm going to apologize in advance, because what I want to say is that I've had this conversation with you, Tim. I don't know if it was in person. I think it was in person, not online. But the thing about it is that when I began to teach social studies, and my favorite part, one of my favorite units is religion, right? And the more and more, a lot of my students come from Nepal, and they are Buddhist, or they practice Hindu, right? And so that would be, and there a lot of them are Christian because they converted in camps. But anyways, the more and more I learn, the more and more I see how it's all connected. The more and more I see how it is all based off this same belief. And it is simply karma. It is everything goes back to that reciprocity. There's a reason why there's a common theme.
Hurry up, I'm about to crush all y'all.
Every major world we live religion, there is a common theme.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is the same, man. Mm-hmm. It's so deep. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to this basic principle.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it. Just because some of these things do occur in our lifetime, but we don't witness it. And it doesn't occur as like how we think it should occur. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You just don't know. But one thing's for sure.
But you know what I do know? You know
Reciprocity is a given. It is the law of the land, the law of the universe. It's the one thing that everything is built on.
Is that you know what the law of the land is?
That equal balance of energy.
You know what the law of the land is? The law of the land is the men. God damn it. That's the law of the man. So it's the men. Let me say this to you, and because because I think we might need to start reframing our spiritual talk, because what I'm hearing is reciprocity is for losers. Losers constantly talk about reciprocity, and that's what we do. God gonna get them. God gonna get them. Reciprocity is the refuge of the weak. Reciprocity. I mean, really, because those that are in power.
Who said that?
Hold on, because those that are in power and those that are whooping our ass don't never talk about no goddamn reciprocity, nor do they worry about it. When we was running the world, we wasn't worried about reciprocity.
You know what I say? I say the darker you are, I say the darker you are, the closer you are to God. So that may be why we talk about reciprocity and why it is at the root of our African spirituality.
No, you know what? And let me break down African spirituality for you. Let me break down African spirituality and my problem with African spirituality. African spirituality is for African people, and we want to expand that and cover everybody in that shit. That's why we think we are supposed to take care of everybody. That's why a black person could get into a political. Hold on.
So
that's why a black person. I'll let you go. I'll let you go. Let me finish. I'll let you go. I'll let you go. Let me finish. I'll let you go. Let me finish. Now, we the only. Hey, girl, don't get cut off. All I'm saying is, we are the only ones that want to stand up and contest as a large majority of us. We will surrender everything to this thing called reciprocity. We the only ones that talk about the arc of justice is long. The reason it's so long is because some of us have been brainwashed so much that we honestly think that everybody see the world like we do. Now, because I got this question for all of y'all. Did God create man or did man create God?
God created man.
Okay.
Man created God.
So if man created God, then who made the goddamn law?
No such thing as God.
Man created
God
the
is some
word
imaginary
God.
bullshit.
Man create. God is not. God is whatever you choose.
God is some shit people imagined up.
Let me say this. Saint Aquinas wrote, he used a scientific method to prove that this is a God. And what he determined that God is merely the name that we have given to the energy to put everything in motion.
That ain't what Saint Aquinas said.
And I'm talking about the energy, the spirit.
Now, this is the point. That's the point.
I'm talking about the force.
That's the point.
The universe. That's
now,
what I call God.
And I want everybody to understand, because maybe I might be misunderstanding Kwesi. I want everybody to understand what I'm asking and what Kwesi said. Right? Did God create man or did man create God? See, because if you really look at it, man created God. Now, there is an energy, and because somebody say that God ain't real, it doesn't mean that they don't believe in this overarching energy. But one of the problems that I have is, first off, when we look at our principles, the principles are people specific. The ideas are people specific. This is why people can do shit to you and not have to worry about karma. They don't worry about karma. You know what I'm saying? We do something and we get in positions of power, we worry about everybody because we extend all of our stuff to everybody. And that's all. That's the only problem I got with I say
get that from. I don't understand where that comes from.
Well, hey,
please help me understand where that comes from.
I'm not the president of black people. I'm not the mayor of black people. You done been through a person that was a black man that was mayor of Columbus for 8 years. Police chief.
I'm not a math teacher. But I'm telling you that what you just said doesn't add up. Just because I believe in karma and I believe in the laws of the universe has nothing to do with anybody.
No, it gives you an excuse to wait. It gives you or maybe other people excuse and give them comfort and get their ass beat. The universe is gonna get them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, the universe is gonna get them. We got to get off that shit. We got to get them. The universe works through us. That's all I'm saying.
I think that there is a unifying kind of a theme that kind of unifies both perspectives, though. Because I definitely think that the whole pie in the sky God, I get so irritated with people wanting to give the creative essence force human characteristics. That's the most irritating thing. Like, God is a jealous God. When people say that, I really think that they should slap themselves. And that's being nice. They should probably throw themselves off a cliff. Sorry. But, you know what I'm saying? God is zero. Zero is the best way to understand God. It's that which exists while not existing. That which exists but doesn't exist. It's the great conundrum. The great, what's that word you used the other day? You was talking about the young man that asked the question.
Paradox.
Not a problem, but a
paradox.
What is it?
Paradox.
A paradox. God is the great paradox. Zero is the great paradox. You can't show me zero something, but you can't have anything without the fact that you're zero something. The idea of something is what zero is, what God is. You see what I'm saying? And then when you start talking about things existing, you can only quantify those things with numbers. Everything that exists, even words, letters, can all be expressed in a different way by numbers. That's what the Matrix and all of that shit is all about. It's this whole thing can be understood through numbers, but we have a limited understanding of numbers. That's why the greatest thinkers that society gives credit to will be people like Einstein, and they always come up with equations, ways to better understand reality. And we need to start understanding those equations to wield that power, because that's when we talk. So to kind of go back to what I was saying before, like to integrate both of those ideas, when you're talking about the idea of reciprocity and the idea of stand the fuck up and do it, they do have a merger, because it's like a process building upon itself. And like we, as the people who have been through this era, through the Piscean age, essentially, who was oppressed, it's a whole new age. That's why all of this shit is coming out, because that's even to take it back to the very beginning of these conversations. Why is all of these so-called black empowerment or black upliftment and all of this type of stuff seems to be coming out? Because I just went to see that movie, The Hate You Give. And the previews for that, it was like 3 or 4 movies coming out where there's a black, powerful main character who has some type of message or some type of power that they bring into the movie, to the script, to the story. And I'm interested to see these movies. But then you got Wakanda and Get Out and all of these movies where blackness is on some level being uplifted by a white power structure. And the question is, why? You know what I mean? It's like on some...
What's the agenda?
It's almost as if the knowledge of reciprocity is being counteracted. So that's the thing about math. That's the thing about numbers, is you can always figure out different ways to skip over stuff, to subvert stuff, to go around stuff. If you know the master equation, or if you know if you take numbers out and plug in variables, then you could always create something different. You see what I'm saying? You could always manipulate the equation or the conclusion of the equation.
All right, fam. I done pissed Lady J off tonight, so I can go to sleep real good.
I doubt it. Couldn't be that.
That's what, you know what? That's why I agree. I agree with you, brother. But that's why there's no absolute as well. And on top of that, like another word for reciprocity is boomerang too. And then also in the thesaurus, boomerang, karma, reciprocity, they all go together. So it's like whatever you put out in the universe eventually will come back. You know, and it might even come back after you reach the ancestral world. But we take a lot of time tearing down someone else's belief on who might be a god or a messiah and so forth and so on. Whatever takes a person to the belief and faith that they will be willing to challenge themselves outside of their comfort zone into their spirit realm, I think is plausible. Because the more closer we can get to our spirit realm and our essence on our journey, the closer we can get to our destiny of whom we are and what we are to be for our people and towards our people. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you is a reciprocal statement, a reciprocal parable. What you give out, you'll get back. So let's not separate ourselves behind what we might really truly believe in, or however we might call it or label it. Let's know that we at least we're blessed enough to know that we have the knowledge and we can apply it towards it pulling us into a higher spiritual realm. I think that's most important.
But now,
what's your name, brother? Oh, my bad, Tim.
Go ahead.
Fred.
Brother Fred. My issue is, I don't care what people believe. I really don't. My issue is, can we guide these beliefs to move towards our liberation? Can we guide them to move us towards black empowerment? I'm looking at the numbers. I ain't finished. I didn't finish. Can I finish? I just want to finish. Can I finish? I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I just want to say that I most certainly think that we can, and I don't want you to shoot me through the phone or drop any bombs or anything like that. But I want to say that whenever we were, I believe that I was coming up, though I came up in a very, disruptive era, right? When things, I'm thinking about crack, I'm thinking about the change in housing with projects and things of that. We had a core value, we had a culture, we had a belief, we had something that guided our actions, and that was this idea of treating people, respecting your elders. Let's say that, respecting your elders. Like, though I come up in like I said, a very non-traditional home, that was something that was taught, and I feel like respecting your elders, treating people how you want to be treated, this belief that I am no better than nobody and nobody's no better than me, we don't preach that. And so I'm looking at, our young people who are missing the core values. That's why I think folktales and the Proverbs
you just said three things that don't even necessarily coexist, though, because treating people the way you want to be treated, respecting your elders don't necessarily coexist. Because treating people the way you want to be treated, elders could treat you like shit, but then respect your elders, that's some bullshit. Like, that's some slave owner shit. Okay, like, we gotta let that shit go. We gotta let that one go. We gotta respect people, period.
Okay, so let me say this. Again, that goes into treating people how you want to be treated. It's not treat people how they treat you. It is treat people how you want to be treated. And that gets at reciprocity. What you put out, you get back. I can't control what you say about me or what you do to me, but I can control my reaction and what I say and what I do. That is what I am responsible for. And what I see in our youth that is different, because I often ask myself, if I grew up in a dope house, if my mother was a prostitute, if I watched all of these things all through my childhood, how did I manage? How did my brother manage? How did all the people that were in our quote-unquote gangster family manage? And it was because though we lived through those things and we seen it firsthand, we had very basic law to conduct. Treat people how you want to be treated and respect your elders. And this younger generation, the kids that I teach, don't have that. They definitely don't have that. So when you're thinking about moving us as a people, what is necessary? I think it's necessary that we get back to the basics. The law of the land is what I would like to tell it. And if we treat it, I say a lot of times, we teach people how to treat us. We were socialized to treat each other a certain type of way, and it wasn't pressed upon us, this division. But at the end of the day, there's some things that we can control, and there's some things that we can't. We teach people how, when we look at people say, every time I bring up black on black crime, white people kill white people. Yeah, but I don't live amongst them. I don't know people that know them. I don't have to attend their funerals. I don't have to deal with those things when it comes to them. So at the end of the day, when I look and I see the number of black men who are incarcerated, in jail, or dead at the hands of another black man in my community, I feel like we do need to get back to the basics on how we treat each other. And then it trickles out. When we treat each other
I was about to respond to what you were saying specifically, but I'm going to go back to what I was about to say before, because that's why I asked Brother Fred, that's why I asked his name, because he said something that inspired me that I was actually thinking about earlier today. It's like this thought kind of been bubbling up, and it just hit the surface, like maybe this morning. But it came to my attention that Jesus, whether or not Jesus was real, Jesus was the figure that best represented the Piscean age. But not only did he best represent the Piscean age, Jesus spoke to a particular group of people. Jesus' life and people that was enslaved, which I happen to think is probably the same lineage as everybody in this conversation. So what he was saying to that people was, yo, you got to get your shit together. Ain't nobody going to do it for you. But it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that he spoke with his mouth. He spoke with his life. He died. And he happened to die. Because think about, like, we got Muammar Gaddafi. We got Bin Laden. We got Saddam Hussein. People that you may disagree with, ultimately. You may not think that what their message was something that should be uplifted. But they stood for something. And ultimately, they stood for they was opposed to the West with their very life. And they was willing to die for that shit. But the way that they died was in secret. They fucking threw Osama off the boat. Hussein, you never find his body. Gaddafi, he got disrespected by his own people. And he got lost. His whole story got lost. But Jesus died.
Hussein was hanged in prison.
In front of everybody. You see what I'm saying? He suffered publicly for what he believed in. And he done entered a new age. It's the Aquarian age. So I think we need a new Jesus. We need somebody like the 300. You know how the 300 died to inspire. The 300 died.
No, hey.
But they inspired their whole set.
Now, but hold on.
These niggas. Hold on. That's what we need right at this moment. We need somebody to die and for us to be able to
before we get to the
beast, and that's who I am.
Before we get to the 300, you need to look at the story before the 300 and go to Lycurgus, who was the founder of the Spartan nation. The one that really started calling them, might have started calling them Spartans and helped develop their civilization. Right? I mean, because I'm just saying. I mean, part of my issue is, like I said, no disrespect to nobody's faith, what you believe in. If what you believe in, if I hurt you, you really don't believe in it. All right? My thing is, part of the show is I am forced to make people think, and I have to ask questions, and I have to throw stuff out there to make you think. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that my people are so spiritual that in some ways we have no earthly good. I'm just saying. It's killing me. Whether we become the best Christians, we become the best Muslims, we become the best Buddhists, we become the best motherfucker that just believe in the ether and the energy, we become the best. But we are no good to ourselves and our community. All I'm asking and all I'm saying is family black first. We got to start handling our business. Reciprocity, yes, if you want to believe in the energy making it happen, but is the energy going to make it happen without a demand? Just like this man that gave away the hair. He gave the hair away. So with that, I make the hair a present to you. That means I give it to you freely, which means there's no reciprocity involved. He gave it away. He released it.
Tim. But Tim, the reciprocity in it came in the parable that wasn't read. And then that was the after story, that what he did afterwards. And I'm sure somewhere along in that journey that he found another hair. You know, it may have not been.
I think, Tim, I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but look, what he's saying is, man, the fuck up, man. Like, are you willing to die to make your reciprocity happen? Why the fuck is you waiting on the universe? Put your fucking nuts on that shit.
Oh my!
Be the reciprocity. Put your life on reciprocity. Stop waiting for the universe to do that shit and die for it.
In a nicer way, that's the only thing I'm trying to say, because my piece is, I understand the after story. All I'm saying is that a lot of times when you listen to our conversations about what happened to us or about what we're going to do, it's like we're waiting for some major push or
I'll say this in response: that faith without works is dead. So no one ever said that you have to wait on the universe to do anything. But at the end of the day, when it's out of your hands, the only thing you can do is trust the universe and know that things will be done. And so
I am the universe. So are you?
And I am too. So you're right.
So who we trusting?
You know what? And that is why it is so imperative that we understand the power in our thoughts and the power in our words, because you're absolutely right. We are God. The same way that God is, a.k.a. the creator, we are creators. We are made in God's image. We are God. Everything that exists in the universe exists in us. And so when we learn to become one with the universe, like I said, and I believe the yin and the yang, that whole energy exchange, that is God.
Now hold on,
so
I want you to be careful.
Hey, you know how they be saying, like,
I want you to be careful.
Saying, like, if go. My bad, go ahead, Hatem.
I want you to be careful because you said the yin and the yang. See, because what I hear from my people is all yin. My fault. Maybe all yang. Whichever one they think is positive.
I don't think so.
See,
I don't think so.
And I even when you go to Kimmy, you had to balance the scales of Maya.
Let me
finish. I want to be clear. You got to balance the scales of Maya. That means that your ass could be too righteous to actually make it to paradise. You could be too righteous.
Let me say this. Some years ago,
Lady J, make it short, baby, because I'm ready to go. I got to go to sleep.
Some years ago, during right after Hurricane Katrina, I was working with young children, and these were the questions that they were asking. So while I decided to do some type of unit, right, and I had to do some research myself to teach it to them, right. But one thing I learned was about, like, a lot of these, all of our natural disasters, they actually do things for our earth. It's as if Mother Earth is a woman, and every now and again the cramps come and all the other things come, which causes all this that we see. But in order to keep Mother Earth regulated, right, and functioning, we got to go through this. So these are these hurricanes. So what I realized is sometimes, I mean, especially these forest fires that just naturally start, all kinds of stuff, it actually is the universe taking care of what it has to take care of. I mean, it's the universe, our world, taking care of what our earth, taking care of what it has to take care of. And unfortunately, that causes people to die. That causes lots of tragedy. But if it didn't happen, the universe would cease to exist. So it has to happen. And so that's how I look at it. I do believe in the balance. And that way you take your good with your bad.
No,
you take your good with
but hold
your
on.
bad.
You only believe. You only believe, and I want you to hear what you said. You only believe in and taking it.
I'm talking about Earth.
You only believe in taking it.
Warming.
No, but hold on. You said you got to take your good with your bad. You got to take, but what about give? You got to give your good with your bad too.
And forest fires create fertile land. It creates fertile land where gives the land extra nutrients. So that's what I mean when I say the earth does what it has to do to stay in existence. Or if not, we would probably
but you got to be more concise. Like, you can't just like bully up the airwaves to make a point. You can make your point a lot more concise. Than you see what I'm saying? You kind of made that point a little bit all over the place. That's what I'm saying. Like, to speak, because we come from a culture where people try to speak loud and big to cover up the fact, and I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, to cover up the fact that they just saying a lot of fluff or just repeating the same shit that they've been hearing their whole life. But we got to start.
Now, this is all information that I've cultivated, and anyone who listens to this show understands that a lot of these are the same arguments I have week after week after week for years on this show. So it's not fluff. It's not fluff. it is the understanding that I've cultivated for myself, and hence it is my philosophy. So I'm just merely sharing that, sir. So I apologize if
don't do all that apologizing now.
If you cannot follow my drift, but that is what I believe.
I can't.
You know what they are? You know what they are? They are. But they are reciprocal thought. They are reciprocal thought. And we were speaking about reciprocation. I wanted a thesaurus to look under reciprocal and see what other words are in reciprocal. They have stuff like mutual, equivalent, contemporary, joint, symbolic, correlated, correspondent, parallel. Long story short, I'm seeing all these things when they talk about reciprocal. You know, what goes up shall come down. It doesn't matter. And we don't have to chase reciprocation because it's going to come back to us. Not all the time with our good intents does it come back intentionally good. But reciprocal means all of those things. We don't have to chase it, but we do have to be about our journey in order to see some reciprocation, but we don't have to wait for it.
That's all I'm saying,
is great. It becomes great to life on your journey.
And that's, I mean, all I'm saying is the waiting is an issue. The waiting has been an issue for us for a very long time. But yo, family, what I want to do is, first off, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Brother Andre, I see you out there. Sister CeeLo, I see you out there. Brother Quasey, thank you. Brother Cox, thank you for coming in. Lady J, once again, thank you for bringing up your points and arguing them very well. And I mean, just putting ideas out here, because Giami Journey is not about us agreeing. Giami Journey is about us thinking. Giami Journey is about us getting ourselves together so that we can pursue asking unanswerable questions. Asking questions that in other places they would automatically put you out, or making statements where in other places they would automatically put you out. I don't care, family. All I want you to do is think. That's it. I want you to think. I hope that some of y'all will leave the show tonight or whenever you listen to it and be pissed off and want to write in, and you can leave a comment on Giami Journey to get other people thinking, you know what I'm saying, and post up some, I mean, this, and actually, you know what, family? In many ways, this is what unity look like. Uh-oh.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? This is what unity look like. We don't all think alike. We don't all act alike. We don't all dress alike. But we did work together to produce a show. Unity. Damn. All right, family. Hey, I want to first off remind you, you have now been standing in the congregation of the mighty. And this is Giami Journey Media. Anime, what is going on with you, girl? Lord have mercy, having these mystic animals. And this is a Heart of a Simmer production. Of course, you know, this has been Folktales for Grown Folks. I hope the kids was in bed.
You not let people say goodnight tonight?
Nah, I'm going to bed. Well, we strive to blow up your old paradigms. Peace out, fam.